As you know, this is a brand new season and there is a lot of ups and downs that come with this new season. And one of the things that I am having to be very strategic and intentional about is finding joy. Now, listen, I don't know about you, but when you have gone through new seasons in life and all different facets, there are times when you feel overwhelmed. There are times when you feel all different types of things. And a lot of times in new seasons, we have to figure out, how do I find joy, happiness when things are new? Not just, oh, everything's new, but like really, really finding joy. And so today we are having a conversation about finding joy in a new season. Welcome to the Kia Kelly podcast, because that's me. Every single week, we will be here talking about business, marketing your business, as well as life and anything that can throw at us. Because one thing I know is that when I've been building my business, I am involved in my business. And so I like to help people understand what it all is going to take to build a successful business and have a balanced life. And so here on the podcast, some of the days you're going to absolutely love me. And then other days, you're going to want to throw me away with the trash because you don't want to be bothered with me. But either way, you're going to get your whole life together when you're here on this podcast. So I encourage you to grab your tea and grab your coffee, because the Kia Kelly podcast is here. So welcome back to another episode of the Kia Kelly podcast, where we talk about all things life, business, marketing your business, a balanced life, therapy, and all the things. And today we're having a conversation about finding joy in a new season. Now, last week on the show, we talked about, what was it called? The 20-hour drive, cockroaches, and the man at the bar, right? And so that, for me personally, I felt like that was a little bit comical. But it was the journey of getting here to Houston, Texas. And so fast forward today, we are now a little bit over 2 weeks of officially having moved to Houston. And I wanted to talk to you about what has been happening emotionally the last 2 weeks, as well as what is it I have been intentionally doing. And the reason why I call this Finding Joy is because when things are new, for example, when you move to a new state or country, you've got to, nobody's really calling. Nobody's really texting. People are like, you are out of sight, out of mind. I used to take it personally, but I started to realize that because you're not in town, people aren't thinking about you, or because they see your life on social media, that they're like, everything's good and whatever, that they're not really thinking about you as much because you no longer live there. And I used to take it so personally every time I would move, but I have realized that it's the exact same pattern. And the only thing that's changing is me. So it's not like everybody is trying to neglect me. It's that here is what happens when people move, okay? And so because of that awareness, this time I had to go, all right, let's be more intentional about this. Because when you go to a new city, okay, everything is unfamiliar. Now, I have lived here before, but it's been 5 years. So some things are familiar. Most things are unfamiliar. I don't have close friends here. I don't have people that were like, yes, you're here. Let me help you move in. Let's do all the things. I didn't come to Houston with a welcome committee, right? And that's okay. I just didn't come here with that. And so because of that, I have been dealing with a lot of different emotions, okay? The first set of emotions was relief, like of finally getting moved, doing that 20-hour drive, making it here and being like, I'm here, right? Then there was making sure everything's set up, Wi-Fi, all that, trying to work, getting caught up on all the things that I was behind with work, Then it was, once the movers got here with my stuff, like coordinating a team of people to help me move everything in, then doing that. Then once everything is in here, going like, how do I live today? How do I sleep today? Where are my underwear? Where are my socks? You know what I mean? Like, I mean, I know it sounds crazy, but it's the truth. I opened up like last weekend, I opened up like 5 boxes that said kitchen, looking for my dried cranberries and sunflower seeds, to realize that I had given it to a neighbor, right? I gave her like all my food and stuff. And I was like, so annoyed because I kept trying to have this salad with cranberry and it just wasn't there. So I was like, okay. So then there was that. So then I came to the point where I was like waking up in the morning and just feeling so chaotic, so all over the place, just feeling like I was going crazy. And I was like, all right. What is it that we're not doing? What's the brain food, brain supplements that we normally take that we're not doing? Okay, let's get back to that. All right, let's get back to that. And then I was like, how is my house being in such chaos causing me issues? Yes. So then I was like, all right, when I shut down work, immediately start, unloading things, unpacking things, and putting boxes in one of my second closets. Because I was like, you got to clear the clutter. You got to clear the clutter. And so then once I cleared the clutter and got my room set up a little bit better and everything kind of set up a little bit better, I felt, like, okay, I feel more clear. In addition to that, I know that I work from home, right? Like I am literally in my office and then within 2 seconds, I will be in the kitchen, the living room, the bedroom, all the things, right? And so I could be in here all day, every day and never see a person. Never, unless I go downstairs to get the mail or I go to get gas or get groceries. I could just literally go and do those things and never see a person, never talk to a person. And I know that that is not healthy, right? And I was like, okay, because I know that is not healthy, because I know that I could isolate and never see anyone. I was like, I've got to be strategic and intentional to meet people, because what I started to realize is that once I did all these years of therapy after divorce, I realized that when you go through a really tough thing like divorce, that's my hardest thing. I don't know what yours may have been. But when you go through a hard thing like divorce, you kind of lose yourself. And like a person that hasn't gone through divorce doesn't understand that when I say that. But it's like a part of you, it becomes like, who am I? And a person on the outside looking in is like, what do you mean, who are you? You are da 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 da. But something happens when you marry somebody. Like, I'm Christian and we believe that the two shall become one flesh. So what I believe is that we are two people, and then we marry, we become one person spiritually. So how I think, how I operate, my hopes, dreams, and all that become ours. Okay. So we went from 4 arms, 4 legs, 2 brains, 4 eyes to 1 brain, 2 eyes, 2 arms, 2 legs, 2 everything. And then when you go to divorce, you've got to strip all of that apart and become you again, and then become them again. And so because that's what I believe, when I started trying to figure out what was going on with me, I was like, maybe what I'm experiencing is that I don't know who I am anymore because I was so spiritually tied up with my ex-husband. That's just what I believe. And so it's been really hard to figure out what makes me happy again. I know that sounds crazy, but it's been really hard to figure out what makes me happy. Okay, I think it was 2 years, 2 years after going through divorce, I didn't realize that I wasn't wearing perfume. I wore deodorant, but I wasn't wearing perfume. I didn't even realize it until I went to visit my family, and I went to use the restroom at my sister's house, and she had all this perfume in the bathroom. And I was just like, it was a shock. And I was like, so I grabbed one of the perfume bottles and I sprayed it on me. I was like, oh, that's really pretty. And then I was like, I haven't worn perfume in a really long time. So then I asked her, can I have some of your bottles? And she gave me some of her bottles or whatever. And I started slowly getting back to liking to wear perfume. I mean, I know it sounds crazy, but it just was what it was. Then I wasn't really trying to wear necklaces and it was just these little things. It wasn't a desire. It just wasn't there anymore. When I first went through divorce, I couldn't cook. I could not cook a thing because it was too painful to cook, because I cooked every meal for us from scratch when I was married. And so it just was too hard. So then as I was going through this healing journey, I had to like learn to cook again and learn to enjoy cooking again, right? So then, fashion and all that type of stuff. So fast forward, here I am now in Houston in a brand new season again. And the cool thing that I am like coming into an awareness of is the Houston, Texas environment. Like this is not a Jesus show, but the environment feels different, right? Here in Texas, I feel happy. I feel excited. I feel hopeful. I feel boisterous. I just have this something feeling that I didn't have in California, San Diego. I'm still unpacking that, but we'll talk about that on the You, Me, and Jesus show. Okay, there's a whole nother podcast that I have that happens on Sundays. Okay, but I feel this desire for life, right? I feel this desire to go back to the gym, not just the house gym, the gym in my apartment complex, but the gym outside. And I'm like, I haven't had that in a while, but also I started asking myself like, how do I find joy? What makes me actually happy? Not just my cats or whatever, but what makes me happy? And when I asked myself that question, two things came to mind. Okay. One, people. Second thing, Zumba. Okay. Like, I don't know about y'all, but I love Zumba. When I had the best body of my life, I was doing Zumba 3 days a week. Okay. And I haven't done Zumba in years. And so when I started asking myself, how do I find joy in this new season? I said, well, I've got to find out what brings me joy, right? And not looking for external, like a man or this or no. What actually brings me joy? Like what is it? And I was like, Zumba and people. So I immediately started going, how do I get connected with people? Got it. Apartment complexes always have Facebook groups or something. So I met some neighbors and I was just like, is there a Facebook group? And they said there's a WhatsApp group. So I immediately get connected into the WhatsApp group. And I am just talking and trying to connect with people, all the things. And I'm a part of this community called EOA, Entrepreneurs Accelerator. It's global. And so I had the San Diego chapter connect me with the Houston chapter. So I immediately started getting connected with the Houston chapter 2 days after moving here. Went to 2 events with them. And I went to lunch with someone. I just went to the farmer's market with another lady. And I am like making myself get completely connected, But also I started looking for all the gyms and I'm like, where are all the gyms around here? Where are the gyms that do Zumba? Right. And today, my intention is, it may not happen today. It may probably be tomorrow after church, but we'll see. I want to go to like 24-hour fitness, Anytime Fitness, LA Fitness, the gyms that are around this area and find where are the best Zumba classes. Okay. And because I know when I go to Zumba, I feel happy, but also Zumba is such a communal experience. A really good Zumba instructor is everybody's talking to each other. Everybody's connecting. It's just such a community type of experience. And that makes me so happy. And so I told myself that if I am going to have joy in this new season, I've got to find things that I enjoy doing that are controllable. I can control talking in our Facebook group, going to events. I can control going to Zumbas and all that type of stuff. I can't control meeting the man of my dreams. I can't control that. I can get on dating apps and all that. I cannot control that, right? And then I don't want my happiness to be predicated on having a man. I love men and I believe that someday I'll be married again, but that's too much pressure to put on a dude to make me happy. No, I have got to figure out what makes me happy. And I know that what brings me joy is people and Zumba. So that is that is all I'm going after, right? I went to a church last Sunday. I'm going to go back to it this Sunday because the actual pastor will be there this Sunday. And I'm going to see how I feel there. I'm going to go to one of their non-Sunday type of events, see how I feel when it's not on Sunday. I'm going to go to some other churches and just do this communal thing because I find joy being around people. Not me, like y'all know me and I teach TikTok. No. Being around people who just get to know Kenya and I get to know them. I can get to do a game night with them. I can go bowling, do whatever these fun things people are doing. Just that. That is what's going to bring me the greatest joy in my new season. And so I'm telling you that because I guarantee you that there's aspects where you're like, I don't really know. But here's the deal. If we don't actually get to know ourselves and what brings us joy, we will be looking for it in other ways, from money, from fame, from fashion, from followers and likes and a man or woman and all these things, when it's like, those things, they're not going to always be there. I can meet the love of my life, right? But at some point in time, he is going to pass away. We're all going to pass away. We don't make it out of this life alive, right? And I've got to find out, what is it for me? What is it that I need? What's going to bring me joy and all the things? Does that make sense? And so I plan on kind of documenting this journey of me building a community here. I do plan on hosting events here in Houston. I am going to be looking for restaurants to be able to have dinners and like group dinners and people. I'm just posting online like, who wants to come? 10 people can come and like, let's just connect. Like, I'm not going to be teaching TikTok, but we're just going to connect and do all that type of stuff. I do plan on making friends out of those groups and then eventually hosting like game nights here at my apartment complex, because we have a lot of community rooms. And let me clarify. So I am a public personality, but I am also private, right? I'm a public personality, which I love people, but nobody knows where I live. And most people will never know what part of town, what apartment complex, won't have any clue. Why? Because I like some privacy, you know what I mean? I don't want people just kind of showing up or whatever, you know what I mean? I just want just a little bit of privacy. So I'll meet everybody, go to all the things, do all the things. But it's until I start securing actual relationships where I feel safe and they feel safe with me and vice versa, that I'll have like smaller events that I host at my apartment complex, which is going to be friends that it's perfectly okay if they know where I live. You know what I mean? Because I just want some privacy. You know what I mean? But until then, I may have my friends host an event or something somewhere. That way I can be a part of it and invite people and all that type of stuff. But all this stuff really makes me very, very, very happy. And so I really want to encourage and challenge you to identify what makes you happy, what actually brings you joy. Like, if you can't come up with a list of things, your joy can't be your kids. Don't choose them, right? What brings you joy? Is it knitting? Is it cooking? Is it hair care? Is it doing makeup? Like, what is it? And start getting back to that one thing, okay? Because you deserve it. You deserve to do those things that bring you joy. You deserve to have that level of happiness that can't be taken away by anybody, right? We all deserve it and we all need it. And I am giving myself the permission to go and get that by any means. You know, like, earlier this week, I posted in the WhatsApp chat and was just like, hey, my name is this and this. I just moved here from San Diego. I'm trying to make some friends. Does anybody want to connect, have dinner one day, you know, whatever? Because I'm like, I mean, the worst thing could happen is like nobody responds. I was really nervous that nobody would respond, just to be quite honest. I was like, oh, nobody's gonna, whatever. And I had a couple people that liked the post. A couple people said welcome. And then 2 ladies said, hey, I would love to connect with you. Let's connect over dinner this weekend or next weekend. And I was like, oh, great. This is great, right? Because it all starts with one person and then 2 people. You know, I posted in there looking for a cat sitter and I found a girl. She's amazing. You can tell she loves animals and all the things. We had a nice 2-hour conversation last night. I'll bring her back in a week to meet my cats, and then she'll start cat sitting when I'm traveling, speaking at conferences. And I guarantee you, she's going to be able to connect me with other people. And obviously I'm connected with her, you know? And so I am just like, in this season where everything is new, nothing is really familiar, no friends, no family, I am choosing to take myself back to like, okay, let's bring ourselves back to square one. And square one is Zumba and people. And that is my focus. So I've got my business or whatever, but Zumba and people. And that is what's going to propel me into the highest level of joy in this season of being in a new city. Okay. So I wanted to share that today. I hope that you found joy and you found pleasure in that and in me sharing that with you. But also I keep asking you guys to write a review on the podcast. And so if you wouldn't mind, before you actually leave, if you're in Spotify or you're in Apple, please go down to the review section and write a review. It really, really helps the podcast be found by more people. And then if you are watching this on YouTube, please comment down below and subscribe to the channel. I would love to have you here with me. So thank you so much for listening and for watching. Thanks for listening to the Key and Kelly podcast. I'm always honored and thankful each time you choose to download and listen to an episode of this podcast, but also when you choose to share it with a friend. Because one of the things that I know is that when I was building my business, it was so important for me to be surrounded by like-minded people. And so when you choose to share our content with your friends, it allows them to be in our space as well, where we can nurture and mentor them as well. And we can just make some new friends. So if you wouldn't mind sharing, I would appreciate it so very much. But in addition to that, if you would do us a huge favor by writing a review and giving us 5 stars, it's going to tell Spotify, iTunes, and all the places that people are enjoying this podcast and that they should share it with more people. And so please share, please write a review, and thank you so much for listening.